higher one, so we're just gonna keep it going with the rankings. So number 5 is Peace of Mind, and I definitely feel like this is really strong in the first half. Pretty much everyone says this, but I think that all the songs from the first half are just great, amazing. I mean, pretty much equally great, I would say. Where Eagles There has great energy. Revelations is very different from at least from the stuff that they had been making up to that point, but it's really beautiful. To be honest though, I think that the second half is a little strange. Still Life is really beautiful. I really love that one, especially mostly because of the lyrics. But Sun and Steel is really a weird one for me. I like the verses, they're alright, but the chorus is just like strange and maybe too happy, like life is like we. I don't know, it's just really strange. But Quest for Fire also has just strange parts. I think Bruce's voice is really great in that one, but just the lyrics don't really make it, and the general sound. But I do like the chorus of that one for some reason more than the one on Sun and Steel. Those I would say are the weakest ones from this album. But I also must say that, like I said, Still Life is great. And I do like To Tame a Land. Something that I do like a lot is the fact that the songs really do sound very different from each other. And the thing that does separate this a lot from the X Factor is the fact that this is maybe a bit more fun, and it just is a little bit more powerful in sound than the X Factor, that is obviously more melancholic and sometimes really softer in a way. But this one is much harsher, of course, but it does work against it that all the songs are not equally great in this album. So number 4 is a strange one to rank here maybe, because it is pretty recent and not everyone feels so incredibly positively about this album, but I really do. A Matter of Life and Death. I feel like this one is, I'm not sure if I would say it's underrated, but I feel like some criticism that I've heard towards it, it's, although valid, it's kind of small for, you know, the whole of this album that I think is really great. The only track that doesn't convince me completely is Different World, and it does affect it that it is the first one on the album, but honestly this has such great stuff. These Colors on Run, Brighter Than a Thousand Suns, Pilgrim, For the Greater Good of God, and Lord of Light are my favorite ones here. I've heard some people say that this is kind of predictable with the softer intros to the songs and then the softer outros that are pretty similar, and I have definitely noticed that. It does make it slightly predictable, and the songs do sound a little bit like each other, and they also have, I would say they're cohesive. I wouldn't say they're too similar, because they do have some changes and they have slightly different moods. But these songs, just in terms of lyrics and music, they're very interesting and they have a lot to offer. And the main thing that I see in favor of this album is that it is, I think it's emotionally, it's really strong. It's kind of the even better version of the X Factor, in the sense that it's kind of melancholic, but it's not, here it's not the whole mood of the album. It goes through different phases, and it also has that powerful feel sometimes that wasn't as present in the X Factor. So it does have a darker tone that I like a lot. I do have to say, these songs are mostly pretty long, so maybe it's not ideal to, you know, maybe it's not the best, absolute best album to listen to front to back, but I do like it that way. Overall, I think it's really great, clearly because it's even over A Peace of Mind. But I mean, of course, I love all these albums. Pretty much all albums since number 8 I would say I love. So, you know, even the ones that are slightly lower than this pick, I like a lot. Number 3 is Power Slave, and I know some people think this is the absolute best they've ever made. I like this album a lot, So clearly this being top 3, all of the songs here are great. So this is a part of the ranking where I have to get a little ridiculous because I love all the songs on this album. My biggest issues are actually quite small. So the first one is the fact that even though I like Back in the Village a lot, it does not quite help the flow of the album, and I would say the same somewhat about Lost for Words. Although I do really like both of the songs, like I said, um, but they are the closest to a weak song of this album. Something that bothers me about this album just slightly, and that is incredibly small, is the fact that Rhyme is the last song in here, when I feel that Power Slave could have been best just being the last track. It kind of bothers me when when the title track is not made to be the first or the middle one or the last one, like it's just the second to last one. It's kind of strange to me. I know that's ridiculous, but that last song is about this mariner, and it's about being surrounded by the sea, the ocean. And it's just kind of strange because the theme of the album itself is the desert and, ancient Egypt and this and that. So I think it could have been at its best with Rhyme being kind of in the middle of the album. Like I said, there's, aside from that, there's pretty much nothing else negative that I can say about this. Number 2 is Somewhere in Time, and this is the only vinyl that I own by them. Every time I listen to this album, I just feel the urge to make it the new number 1, because it's just so interesting, and the lyrics are, about just really creative themes, I think, and the songs just feel perfectly cohesive. There's not one that I feel kind of is the odd one out or anything like that. Deja Vu, I think, is a really underrated one. In general, Dave Murray songs I have found to be ones that I really like and that I find underrated. I like how they always have that like soft guitar intro. This is also my favorite album cover by them, which is also the reason why I wanted to buy this particular vinyl one. And well, I just think all of the songs are great. I think this is kind of weird to say, but I think maybe the weaker one would be Alexander the Great. I really like it, but maybe that's the one that doesn't fit as well. But I do like it a lot. I wish they would play it live. I really like the title track, Wasted Years. It's really beautiful and I never get tired of it. Sea of Madness as well is really beautiful. The Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner is also one of my favorite songs by them of all time. And Stranger in a Strange Land is really beautiful. I find all of these songs to be strangely emotive as well. I feel like I might have been overusing that word a lot in these videos, but I find them really, they have a lot of emotional value. I don't know how exactly to state it, but if you feel the same way, you should definitely tell me. You can tell there's just a lot of effort put into the album, not just the cover, obviously, but just the whole thing. I mean, the songs just go great together. I know it's not a concept album, but it's so beautiful and I just love every part of this album so much, and I really enjoy listening to it as a whole, front to back. It's such a beautiful experience and I love this album so much. Oh, and also the B-side, That Girl, from this album, I think it was a B-side for Wasted Years or something like that. Or no, it was the B-side for Stranger in a Strange Land. And I really like that cover. It's so nice. I mean, I don't know if it's because like Bruce is singing a love song and it makes me swoon, I don't know, but I think it's the best cover they have performed. So I just love every part of this album, everything that has to do with it. Reach Out I also really like. I really like Adrian's voice too, and Adrian in general I really love. So this album it just means a lot to me. Clearly we all know which is number 1, and it is Seventh Son of Seventh Son. I feel like maybe any day I could just go snap and just say So Many Times is the best one, but honestly I think this is the best one to listen to every single song, like one after the other. There are only so many things that you can say to explain why you love an album so much, but basically it's just the absolute best to listen to as an album. I find these songs to be all different from each other, all have their unique qualities and their different moods, and they stick to the same theme, the same story, but they have a different feel and a different part of the story, obviously. For example, Moonchild is kind of playful and evil, and then Infinite Dreams is kind of softer at parts, and it's a bit more desperate and it has a feeling of despair and maybe some sadness. And then Can I Play With Madness is another kind of playful one, and it is the more upbeat one of this whole album. But some people don't like this song. I think that within the album it really does make sense. Label that Mendu is another kind of playful one. And the seventh song is obviously that middle track, that's the long epic track. And then the Prophecy and the Clairvoyant have that feeling of despair again, and this doomed mood going on. And then Only the Good Die Young kind of has this feeling of wanting to accept the fact that just wanting to accept the end, the fact that the story is ending, accepting death, and that sort of thing. I definitely see a very stark and deliberate role in each of these songs, and that just makes listening to the album such a pleasure. And it helps it, and it's helped a lot by the fact that it starts off with a little poem that Bruce is singing, and then it ends with the same poem. Incredibly satisfying to listen to this album. It's just amazing. It's definitely probably my favorite album of all time. Probably I would say this is definitely top 4 among my favorite albums of all time. It kind of varies. Sometimes I feel it's number 1, sometimes it's kind of like 2 or 3 or something like that, but this is definitely a classic for me. So I hope you guys like these videos that I have been making, and tell me what you think about this ranking and how would you rank them. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!